Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
All good.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. I really am astonished at the level of chaos, I should say.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, man. I need to get this organized.
Yeah, you'll see that in the video, by the way. Start telling me about your first time here in Dubai. Born or expat?
Born and raised. I'm a local expat. I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, I don't know if it's called first generation expat or whatever, but I was born here, so I've been here for a while, since the early 80s. Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a while.
I was technically born here as well. Born in Syria, 3 months later, shipped here, but yeah, I know the feeling.
It's home.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people keep telling me you should move, but it's home. When did you start with music here?
Professionally or?
Just music.
So just music. Back when I was in school and uni, you know, I mean, we had the obvious high school band and the obvious college band and the battle of the bands and all that jazz, which every musician goes through. And then eventually, you know, all that got over. Life happened. Picked up a few jobs, got fired a few times, got hired a few times. Till eventually I realized that, you know, I want to do what I want to do, because it kind of ties up with the story of being born here. See, majority of expats or people who move into Dubai, especially after 2000s, have come here for better opportunities, different lifestyle, things like that. But I was born here and I didn't want to be stuck in a corporate job. Which nothing bad about it. If you're in a corporate job, good for you. But I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and that was to be more involved with music. So thanks to an agent of mine, I got lucky because he kind of saw me at a gig that I was playing, and he asked me if I would be interested to do regular gigs for a decent amount of money. And I was like, hey, why not? So I quit my day job around 2015 and took up music full time. So that's what I do. I play 4 to 5 gigs a week, as much as I can actually. Set up this place to record demos, original stuff, jam with the band, and be more immersed into what I want to do for the foreseeable future.
So it's been 5 years.
Pretty much, as a full-time musician in Dubai, yeah. It wasn't an easy 5 years, because music generally is not, I mean, I think it's not just music. I think any form of art is a tough line of work to be in. It's never easy. But yeah, 5 years ago I kicked it off, and here I am, not regretting any single second.
Do you have an end goal?
The end goal is to be happy. And I'm not saying happy in the term of, you know, smiling all the time. I mean, genuinely feeling like you've got what you need in life to, you know, pull through. The end goal is, it's weird. I mean, some people want to be the best of what they do. I just want to give every day the best of what I can, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm taking it, in one way, I'm taking it one day at a time. But it's hard for me to say, but mentally, like in my head, I kind of know where I want to take it. But every time I reach a certain destination, I've already got another destination in mind, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of my mental process, man.
It's like stages and points, and you're going from one to another.
Yeah.
Now let's focus on the region here. So do you feel like if, let's say, you did this in somewhere in the West, you know, where we're much more used to hearing about local bands. I mean, to be honest, I remember when I first started to realize that there's actually local bands here. In my head, I'm like, yeah, that's probably a local band that started, you know, in England or France or Spain or the US, and they came here. and you know, they had their following. But in your case, you're starting a band. You started a band here. You started your music here. How how was that? Like, what were your challenges? What was like, damn, this is hard here.
So challenges in terms of kicking off a band, going back to when it started. I mean, to be honest, man, the music scene here keeps evolving. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's shit. I think the most important thing that musicians, anyone who's watching, would agree with if they've been here long enough is just to keep at it. I mean, I got into music not because of money. I got into it because I really genuinely fucking love music, and it makes me feel good to go out there and perform. I've performed in front of like a crowd of 3 people, and I've performed in front of a crowd of 3,000 people, and I still get the same feeling of performing, because that's what musicians do. A lot of musicians, maybe they come in for the wrong reasons. A lot of them can't stick around in Dubai because Dubai is transient, people come and go. And I think because of that, there's always a fluctuation in the music scene. And this might go across the board for many forms of art out here. Is that a bad thing? It depends how you look at it. I mean, sometimes a lot of musicians work together to build the scene, and then slowly some of them start leaving because maybe they're migrating, they got better opportunities somewhere else, they got to start a family, they got to leave for XYZ reason. And that scene just starts kind of diminishing and goes back to square one. But what I've seen living here my whole life is that it comes and goes. So you can either enjoy that journey, or if you, like I said, if you have a better opportunity, then you can get up, pack up, and leave. You know, no one's going to stop you. But for me, I just think that because this is home. I mean, I've traveled for music as well, but I always come back to Dubai. And I mean, it's got its own charm. It's hard for me to maybe put it in words because there's a lot of nostalgia, memories, instances where I've been like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I always thought growing up, probably like most kids out here, that, you know, you got to go to the West, you got to go to the States if you want to make it big, or you got to go to the UK or Canada or wherever. But the fact is, look at how big Dubai made it itself. Yeah. I mean, Dubai 10 years ago was very different. Dubai last year was very different. This year you've got Expo 2020 happening, and the whole world is watching. And in a weird way, it's like instead of you going out to the whole world is kind of coming to you.
Yeah.
So I look at it in a very different perspective, and I kind of use that to my advantage. And I'm like, okay, if I can't travel the world and get my music to the people, thankfully the people are coming to Dubai. So I'm still gonna go and try to play gigs so I can get as many as eyeballs and ears as I can. So, I mean, you have challenges, but what doesn't, right? And it's good to have challenges. I mean, if everything was too easy, then it wouldn't be worth doing.
Yeah.
You know?
True. I mean, it's in many things that if you want to do something that is not textbook, right? Like art is not textbook.
No.
I don't believe it is. But if there is one rule, is don't stop. Keep going
Bingo.
at it. Don't stop.
Bingo.
Even like with me with the channel, it's all about don't stop. And I think the moment you should stop is if you stop enjoying it. That's when you realize either you're doing something wrong or maybe you just genuinely don't enjoy it. Like you realize.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people go through that. For me, so for example, I'm recently trying to kick off this whole putting my music journey life on the tube, and I know that I'm going to screw up, not on the first episode, on several episodes, and I'm probably going to learn more from you because you've been doing it for a while. But the point is that if you generally don't enjoy it, you'll know.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
Usually people don't enjoy something when they're being told to do stuff, or when they're working in, you know, big groups. But I mean, failure is part of it. It just makes you feel like you go back to the drawing board and you're like, okay, this screwed up, this didn't go right, this didn't sound right, this didn't look right. And you kind of revise the whole idea and try it again. I think a lot of people nowadays don't do that because they want instant results. You know, you put up a cool picture on Instagram and you want like I don't know, 500 likes. You put up a cool video on YouTube and you want it to go viral. It doesn't quite work that way. If anyone who genuinely wants to do these things would do some research and find out that, okay, it does take time, unless you're lucky.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you do something which has never been done before and people want to watch it and see it or hear it. There you go. There's your viral whatever, your moment of fame. But it takes time. You just gotta keep doing it.
Honestly, it feels like most people, they see like new bands, like when you hear of a band, right? And it's a local band, blah, 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 and you hear about it and they're big. And you go like, yeah, that's how they started. They don't know that they actually like suffered and they went through and they failed here and they failed that. And even with you know, YouTube, like the only time you hear about a channel was when it's big, right? And you see like he has 1 million plus subscribers and you go like, whoa, you know, this guy has really nice content, but scroll down, go all the way back to the like first video and,
The first
and
day.
just see the differences between the two, and you'll see that. I mean, in my case, you'll see that like the audio is different, the camera is different, the quality, the edits, the music, that there's a mistake here, there's a mistake there, and so on.
You're doing way better than I am, man.
I mean, but I started where you are. I mean, if anything, like I watched your video and I'm like, whoa, like, you know, he's doing something that took me like 3 episodes to realize, you know.
Thank you.
So
It's trial and error.
yeah, exactly.
It's trial and error, yeah.
Essentially. So the Sound of Nomads is essentially just you.
Yeah, it's just me.
And
It's as boring as it sounds.
no, I mean, this channel is just me, technically. What are your plans for the future? What are your plans for 2020?
Well, for Sound of Nomads, I recently recorded a single. It's called Bleed. It should be out in another month, hopefully. Just trying to figure out how to release it. And it's my first solo single ever, as opposed to everything that's been done in the past, which has always had collaborations with other musicians, my band. This is going to be all me, which as narcissistic as it sounds, I'm proud of it because, you know, I've always been I'm a very shy person, by the way. So
Didn't notice.
Yeah, I am, and that's why you'd find me alone most of the time. But recording a single it felt like I would never be able to do that on my own.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a trained musician. Whatever I play is through ear, and the process of actually being able to put the bass lines together, put the beats together, play the guitar and sing and record and sit through the whole engineering process was mind-blowing for me.
Yeah.
I had a friend obviously who helped engineer the whole song because I'm not a producer at all. I do my own demos at the setup at the back, but that's as far as it gets. So I had to call in my friend, his name is Atif, Playback Lounge, check it out. So he helped me record the track, and it sounds good to me. I hope you guys like it once it's out, man. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right. In the next, let's say 5 years, I know this is a long timeline, but is your focus right now into like your focus on making music, and you enjoy this, and there are the challenges in this country, but you're still going through them. Do you think in 5 years Dubai would, you know, like if there's a 15-year-old, you know, who was born in 2010, I'm getting old, is in a good place? Like, is he, like, if he comes to you and he's like, I want to make music here.
I think it's a great place. I'll tell you why. And I'm not saying this because I was born here. I'm saying this because I've seen the evolution of Dubai from what it was to what it is to what it will become. See, if you had asked this question 15 years ago, maybe I would have felt a lot different about it. But I mean, if there's a kid out there who wants to become a musician, there's so many opportunities now here because you can either be a full-time musician, kind of like what I do, play different venues across town or across Emirates. You can, be a producer for, I don't know, the kind of music they use in jingles and, I don't know, folly music, jingles, advertising agencies use all that kind of stuff. There is a future for it, only if you feel like you can go it's like any other job.
I feel like it's always about, because I've seen people who went into some artistic venue and they had a moment where they were doing great, and because they were doing great they slowed down. And honestly, like sometimes people like come to me and go like, dude, the sound is shit. And I go like, you know what, I need to know that. Like I need to know that, for example, the audio. See, I finally bought lapel mics, by the way, you know, from episode 2. Um, um, uh, I feel like if someone tells you, yeah, this is great, like you're gonna stop there and go like, yeah, you know, I'm done.
Yeah, people, you end up falling into that trap.
Yeah, and like they don't try to become better. They don't try to do something different because the formula they're using is great. And that doesn't mean, you know, like I know they say if it's, you know, it's ain't broke, don't fix it. But there is nothing wrong with trying something new and seeing what the feedback is. It's I feel like it's important to have that drive, right? I feel like the drive is the most important thing, that you just don't stop.
Yeah, it's the most important thing because, I mean, if anything, if history has taught us anything, and history about pretty much anything, is that if you get into your comfort zone and you don't want to improve what you're doing or evolve what you're doing into something better, then there's always the other guy who's going to do it.
Yeah.
I used to work in a place a long time ago. They fired me because I had long hair. Weird story, corporate stuff. But the one thing that I did learn even from that company was, I don't know if it went something like this, that the man on top of the mountain did not always stay there.
Yeah.
And it meant so many things to me at that time. And when I look back now, it reflects to the fact that you might be on top one day, but if you're just going to be comfortable and set up your camp there, there's always going to be another guy who's going to go above you, man. So, yeah. I mean, constantly learn, constantly evolve, keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, like I said, I'm learning so much just from you, looking at your setup and the amount of cameras you have and this way you've prioritized your audio and stuff. It's brilliant.
It took time. Trust me.
Oh, I mean, it took you time. I'm just looking at you and I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do. So now I just need money for it.
Oh, that's such a sad story.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Been
okay, we'll do this and then we'll do that.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for being here, man.
Guys, links are going to be in the description for the YouTube channel, SoundCloud, Twitter. You're not on Twitter, I believe.
I am, but I don't use it as much, man.
Anywhere
There's
you're
so many
looking
platforms.
for him, he's going to be there. Trust me. All in the description. Thank you very much. Take care. See you guys.
I thought I made it really clear how I felt about us. All the feelings disappeared in piles of dust.